Welcome to Soccer Talk, a podcast about soccer, mostly in Iowa, presented by Kick It Forward. Kick It Forward is a positive disruptor to the Iowa soccer community.
Thanks to our sponsors, Scott Insurance Services and Michael Keener, attorney at law. You need legal help, you need insurance help, those are the two to contact.
That's right. Welcome to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, soccer supporters. Ben Brackett here with my co-host and good buddy Blake Sievers. Doing a little soccer talk today. Sieves, what's up?
Hey, Ben, excited for our podcast today. We're kind of doing something we did a couple months ago, a year ago.
I don't know, it's been a while.
Yeah, we got a couple friends of the pod in doing a little video analysis stuff. So I think this is, if you haven't ever watched our YouTube channel, this would be one to check out for the first part at least. And then you should stick around to hear the Misel, the Ankeny Legend himself, come on and talk about the boys game.
Yeah, we took a little drive up north to Ankeny for the Jaguars and the Hawks, little Ankeny derby. You've got the girls' side, Ankeny Centennial, #1 ranked. And we've got Vorster on to chat with us about that. But like Blake said, stick around and listen to the chat with Jacob Misel, Ankeny Fanatic Certified Legend, captain of the all-time Ankeny team. Back for the first time at his alma mater to watch them play since he graduated. So pretty fun to chat with him as well.
They both came empty-handed though, Ben. I don't know if you noticed that, but usually our guests, when they come into the studio, bring something for us, and neither one did.
Well, now they're going to learn. Hopefully they'll listen to their own episode. But let's get. All right, Justin Vorster, welcome back to the studio. How are you today?
Very well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, you're just the guy for us today because you were on hand the other night for the Jags against the Hawks. The girls' side, beautiful night for the game, huh?
Yeah, actually, Miss Sievers with the weather report. I mean, it's always quite a laugh when he's down there for you guys. But
Well, if CIN wants to do a weather report, tell them to reach out to us, would you?
absolutely will. Yeah, yeah. So I covered the girls' game, Ankeny Centennial versus Ankeny Hawkettes, and then I covered the boys' game after that. It was a great evening, but it was very, very windy. The wind was coming in from north to south. So there were some advantages and disadvantages.
Okay.
I was just wondering if you're going to try to take the place.
He did. He definitely listened to our weather report. So I mean, let's talk quickly about the atmosphere, the derby. You've been up in Ankeny, coached there for a while. Obviously know some of the players, but how was the atmosphere in your opinion?
To be honest, I mean, for a rivalry game, I thought the attendance was pretty poor, to be honest with you. I expected more fans at the game, but I guess through the COVID situation, I think people stayed away, maybe watched online. But yeah, I expected more fans there. I mean,
The benefit of watching online is we get to listen to you.
well, thanks, Ben.
And
That's everything, mate.
There was over 750 views on YouTube on the CISN channel. So I mean, that's a handful. And then with the requirement for both groups to sit on opposite sides, that kind of is a little different too.
Yeah, because you don't really get, if they were split up on our end in the grandstand. I mean, put it this way, the game was moved to the middle school, which is a big facility compared to Ankeny Hawkettes' home game, where they could probably home stadium where they could fit in the majority of the fans, which might have given it a better atmosphere, to be honest with you. It was rather spread out as far as when you look at the far side of the stadium, opposite end to the commentary box. You can see how split up it was. It's just, yeah, I mean, the atmosphere could have definitely been a lot more thriving and entertaining, but it's just the environment today, I guess, and obviously the bigger stadium.
Well, we're slowly and surely getting a little bit better because last year about this time we were all sitting at home not doing anything. So slight improvement.
Yeah, which thankfully, thank God, as I say, but it's nice to be out. It's great to be announcing games again. And I mean, I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season and moving forward with CISN. Hopefully we'll cover the quarterfinals and semifinals, and then I've got the contract with IPTV for the final championship.
Awesome.
Great. Well, so let's get to the analysis from, and we haven't given him a name yet, the South African.
We're gonna have to think about
Yeah.
that. I gotta do some real soul searching on that.
I can give you some names, but I'll keep them to myself.
Well,
Yeah, the African Mzungu, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so why don't you just get to it? You know, we know you've cut out a few clips to talk about the goals and just sort of how they came about. So we're gonna this is kind of like our quick plug to check us out on YouTube if you're not already, so you can sort of watch along with us. So go ahead, Justin.
Sure. So Centennial started off in a 4-3-3, very organized, lots of potential and ability within their team. As I said, tactically organized. Ankeny Hawkettes played a 3-5-2 to start with. I thought on the narrow field, initially going into the game, that they would congest the midfield, and then the three at the back would be able to withstand the pressure from Centennial. However, there was a lot of space on the width and the wide areas, which definitely allowed, you know, players like especially Pennington, Overberg, Compton to exploit, and it did cause some problems for Ankeny Hawkettes. So here's where I'm going to start, and I'm going to start with the delivery out of the back, which was intercepted by Becker, who actually did a very, very good job. So Elena Becker was playing kind of like a 6, a holding midfielder. And the Hawkettes were playing a lot of the long balls forward, and it was either Becker or it was Kovac, or one of those two, or Pennington actually. I mean, they were just sitting in there and winning most of the possession back pretty quickly. So I'll just start it off here, where you'll see the long ball played forward and then it's intercepted. Okay, so we'll start there, and this will lead to the goal. So there's Becker in the air, unmarked. As you can see, the line was pretty deep.
What minute are we in here?
We're in the 28:03.
Got it.
So this is building up towards the goal. The first goal I wanted to start here because I think it's all about the build up. So here we go down the right. First cross, and like I said, they were exploiting space in the wide areas. Okay, so here's Mosier with the ball as we lead up to it. The Hawkettes didn't really look to play out of the back at all. They looked to just go straight down the throat, down the middle, which is now easily won again in the midfield.
It's a decent punt, by the way, by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, they had the wind behind them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is this the goalkeeper that we spoke to, Blake?
Not sure, Ben.
There's good pressure there from the Hawkettes, okay, which leads to a foul. But if you look here, I mean, even a quick free kick is on short, go long down the width, wide area again, goes out for a corner. So this will lead up to the goal. As we look at this, the three of the 4 goals came from set pieces. Okay, so it says something obviously for Centennial and their set plays, but obviously the Ankeny Hawkettes have quite a bit of work to do as far as defensively and attacking corners. Macy Epp taking the corner, she was the left back on the night, was very, very lethal down the left-hand side. So you see the corner coming in, well taken, controlled, and then struck straight over the goalkeeper Moses' head. Kovac starting position was very good. Perfect technique. The ball in by Macy was an outswing, and like I said, because the wind was drawing the ball out a little more. However, if you look at the replay here, the Hawkettes were very, very slow at stepping out to press. I mean, literally, they should have, as the outswingers bending away from the goal to the penalty spot, they should have actually been stepping to that ball a lot quicker. So
I think on that minute, Justin, you can see they have a player still on the post as the ball is struck. So to magnify your point, they didn't get out at all.
yeah, exactly. And if it's an outswinger, to be honest with you, with the wind, I mean, if you look at how the Hawkettes, how deep they were in the penalty box, and they were on top of the keeper, with an outswinger, you've got to at least be a few more yards out. You've got to, it's more reactive, I would say, as far as that goes. It's okay, the ball's landed, let me press. They should be moving and stepping as the ball is swung out. And I just thought they were just a little bit too slow in the press, and their reactions on the set piece there on the corner. And like you said, Siebes, I mean, the players on the post should be coming off. I mean, if it is played back in, there's always that chance of one of the Centennial players being offside.
That being said, decent strike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't take anything away from the girl. She great technique, brought it down dead, which is brilliant. There was no bounce in it, brought it down dead and just smashed it with the right foot. So great technique in the goal. Could Mosier have done a little bit better with that? I don't know. I mean, it was fingertip height, but I do know in the girls' game, a lot of female keepers do struggle with the ball in the air.
Fair enough, especially coming through traffic like that. Who was it with the goal there? What was the name?
It was Kovac.
Very good. Okay, so what's the next clip we got for us there, bud?
So if we look at, let's see, if we go to 54, pull it up right now.
So this, just so everybody's aware, we are about 4 minutes left in the first half.
Yes, correct. So conceding a goal at this moment.
That was always a thing we talked about. Receivers. We talked about that a lot growing up, Justin, about the first 5 and last 5 and a half being kind of those like most important to keep things tight defensively.
Correct, and I mean, it's, you know. So I'm going to start this at 54, again, where the ball is 1. I think is important, not just about the goal, but actually where the ball was won first, and then the build up to the goal, I think is very important. And you can look at the marking of the opposition and picking up. Just got to get this right. I'll stop it at the right moment. Okay, so I'll start it here on 53, 56. And the play actually starts on the far right-hand side from a corner and it's played into feet. But I think what we need to look at here is the initial movement and the linear movement of the Centennial players going forward. So see the ball's laid off, laid forward, but watch the movement here. It's held up really well, little flick on, and then breaking through the lines on the right-hand side. A great pace, drawing the left back out. If you watch the ball's played back, cleared away, pressure again. So the press was really good here from Centennial. What the right foot of ball coming in, and then you see number 11 breaking inside the right back. Okay, so 2 things: no pressure on the ball on the far right when the initial cross was played in, right? And when we get to the actual replay here, great pressure there. I mean, great build, no pressure. But if you look at the run of number 11 breaking inside the right back in the back 3, the defender was not checking the shoulder on the half turn, or like standing just slightly be side on, but checking her shoulder to watch the runner of number 11. And I think that's important. Two, maybe the communication from the goalkeeper could have been a little bit better as far as you looking at the ball, you're looking. So you're always scanning it at this point. So now conceding right before halftime, there was literally what, 2 minutes to go, close to 2 minutes. But it's just the timing of the run, the technique of the player that scored number 11 there was just phenomenal. I mean, side footed, I mean, right footed, just Porter, yeah. So as you see, just right footing it into the corner, great technique. And again, we just go to the quality of those specific players.
Yeah, great ball in, great finish. And tough, being that weak sided defender a lot of times, right? It's tricky when if you're probably got caught watching the ball, next thing you know, number 11 nips in, and those are good lessons to learn. And fortunately, we've got it on video for you guys.
It's a great little run though, getting across the defender, getting across her body, and
absolutely, I thought that was brilliant. I mean, it's just the movement, the timing of the run, but it's the little details. When you're talking about the defender, the right back. I mean, it's a little details. Just check your shoulder. Watch the run. Especially if you've watched any of the videos or game film from previous games, get to know the opponent that you're actually going to play, the individuals, and then collectively as a team. I mean, got to know their strengths and weaknesses. And I'll just give you an example. Let's take Overberg. I mean, she's a quality player, and she's predominantly right-footed. Okay, so she was going down. She goes down the left, and it's like Macy Epps the same. She's right-footed and was cutting in. They were both cutting in all the time and being successful. So as a player, you've got to figure that out, and then how are you going to keep them on their left foot? And I think that's the key. Just know your individual opponent.
good. So should we get to the next clip here? What minute on YouTube are we at now?
If we go to I believe it's the 1-0 for the third goal. Let me make sure. Yeah, there. And it literally happened right after the break, as you said, Sebas. And it was another set piece. Quick.
Our analysis man, the African analysis, he came prepared with the first two analysts. Holy cow, that's terrible on my part.
So we're going to start it on 111. Okay. Sorry, Sebas, I was just ignoring you there for a second, mate.
No, it's good.
I don't know what he was talking about. But, yeah.
1 hour, 1 minute, 11 seconds. Or 1 hour and 11 minutes.
All right, here we go from the kickoff.
From the kickoff straight away.
Yep, 112.
It's definitely interesting, the tactics for the kickoff for the Hawks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just wanted to get forward right from the start. They're 3-0 down, but nothing to lose.
2-0.
Sorry, 2-0 down. Just got to get my bearings right here. Hang on one sec. Sorry, guys.
No, I'm just laughing at like South African analysis or analysis.
Analyzer.
The analyzer.
So while you get that pulled up, Justin, we do. I mean, the kickoff is interesting tactics from the Hawks, where they line up 3, 4, 5 girls on the line, play it back, and then try to gain a little bit of field position, move the ball.
Like somebody's been watching the Premier League a little bit.
No, I mean, I think Simon came out with, just he's looking for a way to win. I spoke to him before the game, and he was nervous. He did tell me that Centennial are very, very good. He was trying to motivate his players. He was optimistic, but I think it's good that he got a good look at them in this game, because they could meet them at the state championships, possibly, just seeing how everyone progresses and so forth. But I mean, it's just interesting because he was a little bit nervous, and you know, so his tactics were a little different, maybe go straight direct, and they were very, very direct throughout the whole game, you know.
So are we now watching this, Justin?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
I just started it. The press was on. They got 3-4 players. But this is the, see here. So what? The ball played back in, cleared away, and everyone just stands. There's the reaction. So you play it, and maybe they got confused with the white line and the yellow line, but you play till the whistle goes, so that they hesitated, the Ankeny Hawkettes, especially at the back, and Centennial took advantage of it to win the corner. Now, again, what's the marking here from the Hawkettes? And again, not checking shoulders, not picking up players. So if you're going to mark zonal, you have an area to protect. So basically, your job is to win the ball when it comes into this area. And I believe this was actually an own goal if you have a look at it carefully. So up again, ball goes up, nodded back in, and it came off the defender that was on the post, as you can see. So if we look at the replay here, and I think Hawkettes moving forward need to improve on their actual defending set plays. Ball's up, coming out, back in, and that should have been taken care of. But was there a communication issue with Moser, the goalkeeper, and the defender? But everything happens at a fast pace. You know, Siebers, you know that from your Drake days when it came off your shin, hit the post, and remember that?
Well, again, it's Centennial going down the right side again, just like the first half.
Yes, yeah, correct. But like you said, down the right-hand side, but they were also very, very effective on the left as well through Misel going forward. I mean, she was going forward at every single opportunity, which I think is very encouraging at a high school level.
All right, do we have one last clip?
Yes, we do.
All right.
So we'll go to the fourth goal at 1:42. Yeah,
Just under 10 minutes to go. Is it?
Oh,
Yeah, so it's the corner kick, actually about 1:40, 1:30.
yeah, correct. I started at 1:42. So here you go. The corner, which Misel will come across and take again from the right-hand side. Take note again on the defending. As you can see, the wind is pretty strong. Macy started to pinpoint the strike, the deliveries. I mean, they were a little bit more driven in, which was awesome. Gosh, I remember, I'm showing my age here. I remember Macy when she was 10 years old. Driven in, a more lofted ball into the far post, off the knee, bounces around. Again, if you have a look at it, the ball watching from the Ankeny Hawkettes is just not good enough. That they allowed the Centennial players to come in and just take advantage and be first to the ball. So as you see the ball coming in, I think it was boom, off the knee, shin. But you see the reaction is just it.
So when I'm watching that over, you know, if you just watch the red uniforms, they're stagnant, right?
They're stagnant, yeah.
And you know, like you got all the white uniforms just running as fast as they can, trying to get to the ball.
Yeah, it's just they've got to attack the ball in flight. As it bounces, you've got to be the first to the ball defensively.
And it's a little bit, I mean, I'm going to go after Centennial a little bit. Go attack the thing with your head. It's hit her in the thigh. So like, it's just, I mean, both teams, right? Nobody really wanted to win that ball. And maybe it's because it's 3-0 with 10 minutes to go. They just want to get out of there. But
I'm just going to have another look at, I'm having another look at it there, Sibo. Just to,
so now
it's just, you know, when you think about the flight of the ball, the timing of the run, yeah, correct. I mean, can you get there to win it, you know, as a header and so forth? But maybe the timing was off. but it's hit her in the thigh, basically. There you go, in the thigh, bounces around, and she's onto the rebound again. I don't know. I feel maybe Moser could have come out and reacted quicker because it was in the 6-yard box. So is that the goalkeeper's job to do? There were enough players in red around the ball at the time. As you can see, watch here, the ball comes in. Missed header. So that particular defender in that area misjudged the header. So the timing was off. Okay, so you think of that. She gets a little flick on, it's gone.
Seems like major themes would be, you know, goals coming from wide areas, specifically set pieces.
I would say that's that's at least a bright spot for the Hawkettes going forward, right? Like they didn't give up a goal because they were they broke down tactically. It was almost every set piece stuff and a little bit of urgency and desire in the penalty area.
Yeah, correct. I totally agree with you. Yeah, but you've got to look at it also that, you know, Centennial did dominate most of the game. I'm not going to take any effort away from the Hawkettes because they did work hard and, you know, they really did try. I did enjoy watching, what's her name? Emma Gott up front. She's got a little bit about her. I mean, she's got a fierce character.
Freshman.
She's strong. Yeah, she's a freshman. She's not scared, put it that way. I mean, like I said, she's got this bite about her. And then you've got the other player up front that they had was Brooke Harrington. You know, Brooke, I like Brooke as well because she can hold the ball up. So if you're playing two up front, I think you've got a little combination there of one that can hold the ball up and then one that can run in behind possibly. So there's some really good link-up play that they can accommodate each other. The biggest issue, I think, and I think was because the Centennial pushed the Hawkettes so deep into their half defensively into zone 1, like literally to the edge of the box. So in the 3-5-2, the two wide players were forced into a left back and right back position, right? They just couldn't get forward. So, and then you look at the midfielders, the three in the midfield, they were dropped in deep, and then you just had maybe about 40 yards of space from where one of the midfielders was for the Hawkettes to where possibly Harrington and Gott were. And I mean, they were literally against Becker holding, okay, and then the two center backs. I mean, they couldn't get the ball into it, you know, and when they did, there was no support play quick enough.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, again, Centennials, they're good. They've got I just saw that they've got I think Overberg's going to Minnesota. They got someone going to UMKC, Winona State, Minnesota State, Mankato, and a couple other ones. So the Bras over there at the Rush has been, I'm assuming they're all Rush girls, has been doing well. And that oldest age group is good. And just kind of looking at the Centennial schedule, I mean, they're kind of following the Waukee boys a little bit. You know, they lost to Pleasant Valley early, but their last few games, I mean, 4-0, 3-0, 6-0, 12-0, 11-0, 1-0, 10-0, and now they're ranked number 1. So think they're the team to beat here, Butty, that you've seen on the girls' side?
Yeah, I think so too. I've watched a bit of Valley, and they are looking very good. Waukee are looking good. Centennial. I haven't really seen much of the east side, but I do believe that Centennial are setting the standard right now, and I think they should be favorites going in. But you know, with the high school football or the soccer, it's always great to see the underdog coming through and an upset. And you know what? Don't write out Dowling Catholic. Dowling. You know, they're looking good. They beat.
Shout out John Pearson.
Yeah, big shout out to John. I saw him this morning in the gym. I was there, you know, again, 8:15 for my early morning workout, and JP was there.
One of the Vorster's guns.
Yeah.
All right. Again, you can't only see those on our YouTube channel, though, if you want to check that out.
The invoice will be in Monday. So the price is going up in the contracts, just to let you know before.
But no, you
be finishing, so you guys can decide what you want to do with the actual analysis moving forward. But going back,
they play Dowling on the 18th of May. Centennial does, so that'll be one to keep an eye on.
And I think that's going to be a big one on the 18th of May. And Dowling, I mean, they've got some good players in that team. For example, the goalkeeper CC going to Nebraska, very good. They've got the Moore sisters, Julia, Sarah, and Kate.
Triumvirate.
I mean,
sisters.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the twins and then Kate, right? Yeah. But they have got a good team, and I think they have a really good outside chance. Walkie have been a little bit up and down with results. But again, you look at the squad, they beat Dowling on Tuesday, I believe, 2-0. But again, I think early in the season now, it's great for some of these schools when they're playing against each other to get a good look at each other. You know, now they can prepare for the next game. Because when you think about it at the end of the day, is you can watch a game, for example, I can watch a game of, let's say, and I'm not being I don't want to criticize, okay, but I'm being critical in a way. But when you look at Walkie, maybe they play Fort Dodge or Mason City, okay, and the score is it's 5-0 in 5 minutes, okay. Watching a game like that to try and pick out moments, especially if I'm a JP that's going into the game against Walkie, and you go, how am I going to really analyze where the strengths and weaknesses are when you're not really seeing it? But now when you play these rivalry games and these competitive matches against the in the metro area, now you see a little bit of a competitive edge. You can see the strengths and weaknesses, individual players, and how they are how they organize collectively as a team from a positional play and a positional influence.
I love it. Well, Butty, we appreciate it. I mean, got to definitely give a shout out to CISN. What they're doing is pretty cool. The access, the availability, the camera work, the graphics, top notch there on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll also, next time you're calling in, we'll have you come in again and chat with us about it. It's good to have your insight. And we're definitely going to see it at the state tournament, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. And you guys have a good weekend.
Right on, you too. All right, Blake, fun little chat with the South African analyst. Vorster in the studio. Today we've got our boy Jacob Misel joining us. Jacob won the state tournament back in, I couldn't even say what year, because he's much younger than I am. But as a senior, the only time an Ankeny soccer team on the boys' side has won the state. So a little pride there.
Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yeah, right on, all those things. Stud. But yeah, so it's really fun to have him in, and brings a different insight to the game. And it's fun also to just kind of talk a little bit about the rankings overall and the sub-state stuff that came out, which we'll touch on as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, Jacob Misel, welcome to the pod. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
That was a bit of like a delayed answer there, Ben.
Are you not good?
Just want to make sure I use proper grammar. Otherwise, my wife will, educate me in a few years.
Fair enough. So then the first question that we ask a new guest is always,
Is this the first time you've ever been on a pod?
Yes, this is.
well, you listen to pods, I know that for sure.
Yep, listen to this one actually.
Oh,
Good answer. That's like the first person that's ever answered that.
I know. I don't know, is that good or bad? We're in 100 episodes in, so.
Gotta start somewhere.
Fair enough. So.
Is this our 100th episode, by the way?
It's 101st or something.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
We didn't celebrate.
We did not.
No, I meant to-
Just another number, isn't it?
Yeah, just, something to do. We kind of made a big deal about 50, but anyway, so, Mizey, my friend, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the game, just as far as, overall, what did it feel like to be back there? We've already introduced you in the kind of preview, I'm sure, so, we all know that you're the Ankeny Fanatic certified legend that you are. So tell us just a little bit about how it felt to be there and just your thoughts.
It was pretty fun, to be honest. I hadn't been to Ankeny since I coached there quite a few years ago, right before the school split. So I'd never been to the Ankeny Derby game, which I can only anticipate was fiery from the beginning. Remember coaching and even the JV teams before they even split the varsity teams were already starting to talk smack to each other. So it was much more lively than I expected, especially after the girls' game. It was there was a lot of people there. There was a lot of noise, hooting and hollering. It was actually pretty great.
It was funny. So you actually grew up playing at that. So the game was at Northview Middle School.
Correct.
Which is there, just kind of like right on the border, and it's a split middle school. Is that correct as well?
I don't know if it's a split middle school, but the stadium definitely had both of the Jaguars.
So it is. It's split middle school.
Is it?
Well, that was it. But that was interesting. The stadium had both logos, the Hawk and the Jag.
I believe it's actually a split middle school.
Well, I think maybe they share the stadium then.
Well, okay.
Yeah, they definitely share the stadium.
We'll have to get some Ankeny, just like geniuses on the phone on that one.
But I think it's interesting you bring that up, Misel, about the JV levels splitting, because I think Waukee and Waukee Northwest or whatever they're calling themselves are split now.
Is it really?
Yeah, so like
Northwest.
the Wolves, I think that's their nickname, but they're playing split. I just see it on social media where there's the Waukee Northwest or a Wolves deal. So it's interesting that you bring that up, that you guys used to do that, not at the varsity level, but they started it beforehand, before the top level, I guess.
Yeah, and I know it was good because more people got to play, but at the same time, it did dilute the pool of players you got to pick from, which, good or bad in the end. High school is about having fun, but I always played to win, and that's kind of, at least in high school, I always played to win, because that's you're there to win. You only got a couple months to play, so.
Well, so I think that there's a little bit of tradition too that goes along with it, especially up in Ankeny. You and I actually drove up together and met Blake ahead of the game. And so if the tactician were here, he would have gotten all sentimental. He's gotten sentimental about stuff like this before. There was a, like sort of a marquee as you come into the Ankeny High School area, and it said on the location that we met to beforehand, the sports page was across the street from actual Ankeny High School where the Hawks are. And there was a whole marquee of state champions, right? And as we're driving up, mine was like, hey, check me out. So that's on like the 6th panel down, 2nd there. But I mean, God, there must have been 100 state champions on that deal.
Yeah, and I feel like there's probably more, and they don't even have space on the panel, unless it's the opposite side. I didn't get a good look, but I remember when I was back in high school, the panel wasn't full.
Sure.
And the goal was to be the next one on the panel. And I know it used to be mirrored on both sides, but they probably need to switch it up and do all of them on one side and start using the second side, because I know that both schools have won championships in multiple sports. So it's great that Ankeny still has success even after the school split, but unfortunately, it seems the soccer teams have still yet to get another chip on the belt in the last 15 years or so.
Let me jump in really quick, but that's interesting because we talked about that for the Van Meter game but the marquee that is, as you drive into the school grounds, like with all the state championships. So it's interesting that you bring that up as well, Misel, that like that's a talking point, and that's a pretty cool little deal and brings a little bit of nostalgia back.
I think it's just cool because it's there for, I don't know if they're ever gonna get rid of it. I hope they never do, because there's stuff from like the 50s and 60s on there, I believe. So, you know, parents and probably even grandparents have won, you know, championships with Ankeny and can still drive through on the main road there and like, hey, that's you know, that was your grandpa winning back in the 50s or 60s. It's a really cool thing to go back and see that, because I just remember all the hard work that everyone put into that year. We really deserved it. And it's just a nice little reminder every time you drive down Ankeny that it'll kind of be, you know, in the history books for a while, though. Well, as long as it stays up, that is.
Yeah, well, your folks are living up there, so like someday you'll like, you know, potentially drive some children up that way to visit grandma and grandpa, and you can be like, you know, there's where I'm at.
They need like a Fanatic all-time, like he should have his image up on the side of the high school, like on a right on a poster or something.
They have like all the all-state players in the high school from last I remember. So everyone, like your team picture of that year, if you were on the all-state team, you would get a plaque in the school. So I remember at the very old high school, which is now Northview, my sister, you know, she's also an Ankeny legend, and I went back to watch her play basketball because she was a dual sport athlete and much better at basketball than I was. And it was really cool to go in the halls and see, you know, there's my picture from a couple years ago next to all these other amazing Ankeny people. And then there was also a wall of like the All-Americans. Unfortunately, I never made it to there, but you know, that was always a dream and goal to be on the large portrait All-American, but didn't make that one, unfortunately.
Fair enough. So I think the other thing that was cool about it, when we talk about just the sense of community that's up there, the Iowa Rush had their, you know, kind of club night out there at the game. So, you know, kind of helps with the atmosphere. It was really cool because you got a lot of young players kind of running around and watching the game. So I thought that was really cool too. Got to see a bunch of friendly faces. What did you think about the game itself? What, you got any thoughts for me on that, Mizey?
I mean, I would say overall, it was a pretty decent game, you know, if you're a neutral spectator, but, you know, being an Ankeny kid, a Hawk, it was obviously a disappointing result for Ankeny, but, you know, all credit to Centennial. They played really well. The first half, I was like kind of dumbfounded. The guys were putting in so much effort. The intensity was extremely high. There was hooting and hollering from both of the fan sections, and it was actually a really great atmosphere. You know, bring back some great memories. But that was the thing that I was happy with, is like, you're gonna play a derby game, it better be high intensity, it better be some crunching tackles, there better be some, you know, heckling from the sides. And it had all that, which is great. And it had goals too. Unfortunately, not for the team I was hoping to win, but regardless, it was a good game for neutral, but a good game for Ankeny in general, because you want these rivalry games to be a game you're hyped up for, and they put a lot of effort and energy to. And I thought both teams came out with a lot of energy in the first half.
Oh, we'll talk about it in a minute, but you know, both of these are teams that can compete at the sub-state level and get to the state tournament. So I think that's just a testament to the, you know, to the club up there, and then also just to the community itself. You know, but Blake was loving the hooligans. You know, what do you think they didn't have a name? Did they?
They didn't, but we definitely should make sure that they are known, because they were a bunch of the baseball players. I think maybe some of the friends as well from the Hawks, but there was definitely a pretty good breeze. And I clearly picked that up as a weatherman, but so we went down at the opposite end of the field where you walked in to have the wind at our back. And right behind us was probably what, 15 to 18.
Let's call it 8.
Well, okay. Well, they definitely made their voices heard. And like, they were, again, we talked about Norwalk early in the season about their student section rivaling the hooligans from a few years ago of Waukee. These guys, they were passionate, they were creative, they were smart in what they said, because they had a lot of specific things they were talking to the Centennial players about, but they didn't get kicked out, and they were, like I said, smart and genius on their part. And it was comical, it was great, and it definitely brought a little bit of atmosphere to the game, I thought.
Yeah, we'll see if I haven't gotten any videos. I don't know about you, from the Waukee Hooligans, to see if they're still in the mix.
I think they've been disbanded, like they just graduated, and like they didn't bring any youngins up. But they were asking about YouTube. Evidently, the YouTube channel is now the thing, which is kind of a good segue, isn't it, Ben?
Oh yeah, we're right on. So are you gonna segue us? Blake loves to chirp us on the YouTube. Check us out at Kick It Forward.
Make sure you like and subscribe. That's what our sponsors need. That's what YouTube wants.
That's true. Yeah, so do that. Jacob will give you a lesson on that if you really like. Anyway, so
Can we talk a little bit about some specifics there on the first half?
yeah, I was gonna ask if you wanted to do that.
So, I mean,
Who did you like?
go ahead,
Well,
Mize, ask.
it's a tough question.
Because there were no programs, which again,
Yeah, there was no program that made it difficult. It was kind of like, who's that guy? Like,
It's very true.
so Marcus, Brian, whoever's in charge of the programs, like,
apparently there's an app for it or something, but like, that's not necessarily the best form sometimes.
Fair
And
enough. So as we were looking through, same thing, we went to the Varsity Bound, which I assume is the app. And so we were excited to delve into the stats a little bit ahead of the game, and Marcus, I love you, but it looks like you guys had 0 shots on goal, 0 anything, 0% saves, just basically no box score. So that means at least Varsity Bound didn't get it. So we're just trying to figure, we can't really comment on all the details. I can tell you that for the Hawks, we all agreed that we were fans of the number 11, Mason Yeats, who's playing kind of like the left winger. I don't know if he was a 7 or an 11, maybe, or maybe he was
call him a left winger, because that's what he was. Like, get rid of that, call him a left winger.
But yeah, he's very clever, right-footed player that he drew the penalty that they scored the goal on.
Which, can we talk about that really quick?
Let's do it.
Because that was a pivotal moment.
yeah, I would say the penalty, from my view, was slightly soft, but that's just a game of soccer. Sometimes you get a penalty you maybe are not should be getting, and sometimes you don't get a penalty that you definitely deserve. So
the question is, so we were right there.
So yeah, Ankeny was going in, the Hawks were going into the wind the first half. And so go ahead, Ben,
Yeah, so I
sorry.
was just saying, no,
We were
shout
right
out
there.
to the referee, because he said he's watched it back and he wasn't sure if he got it right either. But what I would say is that if in any other part in the field, I think you probably call it a foul, even if it's just a little touch foul, you might. So I think that like it's really tough as a referee in that situation, or in anybody's situation, to make that call. If there's like just enough contact, guy goes down, it's in the box, like, well,
yeah, it's
yes,
hard.
it's a penalty.
I think it's hard to make those type of calls too. I feel like the player was a little off balance themselves, but all it takes is if you're not playing the ball and you knock a guy that's slightly off balance, even more off balance, or he falls over. I mean, I feel like that's a foul if you're not getting the ball. So I really didn't see anyone getting the ball. At the same time, I think Mason had beaten that guy. Just like absolutely making that kid's life not fun. And the hooligans are definitely letting them know about it. And that wasn't the first time that he had been fouled, and it wasn't the last time he was fouled either. So it's sometimes you're asking for it if you are consistently fouling a player. And I think, in the end, it's up to the referee, and I'm not gonna say it was or was not, but that's just the way it was called. And
Well, we had a discussion about this the other night where you and I think it was ultimately, it was the right result. I think like the Centennial was probably they're at least a little bit better. And when we looked at the non-box score before we started speaking, and it was 0-0-0-0-0 all the way down the line, and we were like, well, do you remember the goalkeeper actually making any saves for Centennial, and I can't say that I do. So, you know, it may not have been, we may not have been that far off. And I know in the second half, you know, we went and basically flip-flop sides. And so we were still sitting there hanging out on the number 11's kind of left wing area. And he, I don't remember anything he did in the second half. I don't remember them getting the ball and really attacking that area again. So anyway.
I think the Centennial, one of the right backs got a yellow card for, like you were talking about, Misel, like fouling that Yeats.
Was that in the first half when he was pulling the shirt, or?
I'm not, I don't remember.
The referee did mention that there was some shirt pulling that had been going on.
Yeah, but and like at
Very
one, for me though, it definitely, to me, it wasn't a penalty, but for a chippy rivalry game, a lot of times you see referees kind of take over, right? And like try to send guys off or actually send them off. Like it was, I thought he did well because again, the crowd had an influence on it and he was like, there was no, we weren't talking about him today other than the penalty.
Yeah, I didn't give him a compliment, of course, when I spoke to him, but we did. So speak about the fact that in that first half, let's talk about some of the Centennial players. One of my favorite players for Centennial is that number 10, Emmanuel Reichart, who also was out of the mini pitch, repping Team Swag, really good player, strong, sort of central. He plays like a kind of an attacking midfielder, but like gets back in defense. And he got really like stuck in on a great tackle, won the ball clean, put the kid on the ground, turned and started running with it. And the Hawks player or another Hawks player was like, no, you're not, you know, you're not getting my boy like that, and came and, you know, tackle. And it was a derby type game, and that's what happens. And the referee did really well to just kind of blow it really quick, get in there, shut it down. And I think he did well. I mean, we both commented on it like, ooh, that was good. So I think he did a really good job of controlling the game. And you're always going to get put in tough moments.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever out of control of the game from the players. I feel like everyone kind of kept cool heads, and there was always going to be some rough tackles, and you can never, you know, these boys have a lot of pride on the line, right? They're like you said, you're not going to let your buddy, you know, be on the receiving end of a tackle. It was a perfectly clean tackle, but man, he got it really good. But I can't blame the Ankeny kid for coming back around like, all right, we're not going to let this evolve anymore. We're gonna tackle, and it was kind of a tactical foul. It's like, one, you're not doing that to my boy, and two, like, all right, let's get back and play safe, because at that point, I think Centennial was kind of running the show that the first part of that half, and it would happen on the left side of the field. That's where a lot of Centennials more of their attack came from the left side that was successful and dangerous.
Yeah.
And that goal, I mean, that Reichart, Emmanuel, he slipped that ball into the older, I don't know, Heckin label, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, sorry, Thiele. Yeah, sorry. You're right, Ben.
Yeah.
It was a good little goal. Like, and that boy was good. That Spencer was, he was good. I was impressed.
He scored twice. His younger brother is a freshman, it looks like. You know, and so I was gonna say like that guy stood out. And then who was the other one that I was gonna
I like Tekken again, he scored a goal of the week, but liable maybe.
Heckin liable.
He's got to have a nickname. He's got to be like Heck or something.
His name's Jack, so they probably just call him Jackie Boy.
There's two of them on the team. There's brother. One's a freshman, one's a senior, it looks like.
I love it. Well, so and that's one of the beauties of high school soccer is the relationships, the family aspect to it. So you know, we love segues, and one of the other goal scorers was a young man named Ty Duax, whose father happens to also be the coach. Brian Duax, good friend of the pod. Also, his business is a great supporter of the pod. And so
Central City Liquors, by the way, there's a good plug.
Yeah, absolutely. We love that place. But it's so funny because Brian also was the Ankeny coach before they split, and then moved, you know, so to take the opportunity to live to coach in the district where they would live so that he could coach his kids. So Ty's a freshman, a good little player, scored a goal and had a yellow card.
Yeah, we,
If you want
how young are they to like pick on? I guess that's the
Oh, I think
question.
you can pick on him. I think how interesting was it to see boy get the yellow card and walk off and like high five the kid that has a sub on for him and then just like he and his dad just walk right past each other.
We'll hear about this later tonight.
Yeah, I don't think the boss was super thrilled.
But so Blake, what were you gonna say before? So Ty, great young player, I saw some good young players, but I really liked him. Looks a lot like his father when he plays.
Yeah, I mean, again, this can sound so negative, but there's a lot of pretend there. So he can be so much better. I mean, similar to the old man, which is kind of a compliment because his old man was a good player and scored some great goals. And I mean, he again, little plug is he scored the number 2 goal of the week in week 1. And if it was in a regular game, that probably is
best goal of the year.
Absolutely 100%. So he's clearly, as a freshman, he's getting minutes for a top 10 team. He's good. And just selfishly, I'd like to see him do a little more. And I think his dad, like you said, Ben, on that yellow card, his dad knew what was going on. Like his dad's just as frustrated almost as we are.
So
but he's definitely a good player.
Chat about the staff then quick too. So Brian Duax on his staff, we do know as a former teammate of Misel's state cup or state championship winning team. Tell us a little bit about him.
His name's Andrew Rohr, and
I was afraid I was gonna mispronounce the last name.
no, it's all right. Rohr, like Rohr, yeah. He and I played club from probably U15 to U18 together at West Des Moines, but still were Ankeny. There was another guy from Ankeny that went with us as well. But yeah, he's kind of been in the soccer scene, I think, for quite a while now. And I know he coaches at Rush. We're talking to, I think, like Lindsay Horner or something, and she's like, or someone had like coached with him at Rush like many years ago, and it's very great that someone that grew up in Ankeny is still so involved in Ankeny soccer, and not just at the club level, but also at the high school level. And I think that's also good for Centennial. You have someone that's seeing these players play throughout the year, and then you come into high school and you already know how this guy plays, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses. I think it makes that, high school teams, the trick is piecing the right guys together to get a great team. And if you've already seen these players and know how they play, it makes it, I think, a little bit easier. And
well, a lot of time too, there's like that community pride piece, right? Like that's the difference. So like everybody's pretty good, let's just say everybody's about the same. But when you got that community pride, I think that adds that little boost, that little 5-10% a lot of the time. We're just seeing that more and more now with former players going back and coaching with their own mater to see if they can help, being great role models,
just like Marcus, at Ankeny.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus Farnham's had a really cool thing going. They're raising money for breast cancer, I believe, and the whole squad was rocking pink unis the other night, and looked good. Sounds like it's definitely a really cool fundraiser. But it sounds like something they're doing well with.
Yeah, I mean, they raised over $1,100, which is pretty cool. And again, another little differentiation of the high school soccer, right? Like that is the specific uniforms and a little check presentation there between the girls and the
Tough
boys
color
game.
clash, the maroon and pink, by the way.
It is a tough color. But his mom had been so involved with like making schools for so many years. I remember when I was coaching, she was doing so much for the team then. And so I think it's only natural for the community to give back to someone that's already given so much to the community. So it's always great to see the community recognize these types of individuals and whatever they're going through, right? And I also think it brings the teams closer together. There's not a Centennial Ankeny kind of rivalry for a little bit, but then it's like when you step on the field now it's we're rivals, but when we're off the field, I feel like a lot of those guys are probably they play club together, they know each other, they're friends, but coming together for a cause, for opposing coach. I think even Chris Allen, the Jaguars coach for the girls, he was saying how great it was as well. So it was nice to see both sides united in a cause that is definitely something, very positive for the schools to rally around something like that. It was great to see.
Well, I wonder if Blake's over there trying to like get us the link for that or whatever, but I bet you we can figure that out. And in our kind of outro, we'll mention like how if anybody wants to donate to that or participate in that, they certainly can. We're supportive of that, of course. But also, need to probably like see somebody you coached, right, Jake? Like Marcus. I don't know how necessarily long it was. It does not matter. The fact that you coached me for a season or two, how cool was it to see that kid turn around and go coach and like very composed, mature, like.
Yeah, it's great to have someone like Marcus right now coaching him. I think he's a level head. He's smart. He's driven. He's a very focused individual, and you could see when you guys are trying to chat with him that time. He's like, "No, I got to talk to my boys right now. I got to get them straightened out." And like that's what you want from your coach. It's like business first, and then we'll have a little fun afterwards.
And the presence to like say no. Like, because a lot of guys might say like, oh no, sure, yeah, even when they wanted to. So
we weren't gonna let him go though. He gave us it was good. He gave us a little bit of time, but like
I think Centennial getting that third goal late in the first half might have been a little bit of the motivation to get to the guys, because that third goal was pretty rough because they were down 2-0, got the PK, and they're making a game of it, right? And that third goal can be a little demoralizing when it comes soon before halftime.
Yeah, for sure. What else? So I think I was just going to maybe talk about, Blake mentioned rankings, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the sub-state stuff that came out. I thought it was a fun little kind of closer on this. So, Blake, well, you can read it all.
I mean, yes, yeah,
today,
they did.
Today is Thursday, May 6th. This is going to drop hopefully tomorrow, May 7th. If the producer can get his act together, we'll see. Got a lot of irons in the fire.
But yeah, I mean, we'll get rid of sub-state 1. That's like, I hate to say that, but that's
like
okay.
Just run through it really fast.
So that's Council Bluffs, Lincoln, Jefferson, Lewis Central, and then the Sioux City schools, East, North, and West.
Yeah, so we don't know a lot about those.
We don't.
I would guess that just based on like club stuff, I would guess one of the Sioux City schools finds a way through there. So we'll see. Continue.
Yeah, so that's Sioux City West is ranked number 4. So they should be the early favorite, right?
Yep.
Sub-state 2 is where it gets pretty interesting. Centennial, Hoover, Lincoln, Fort Dodge, Southeast Polk, and Waukee. So you got obviously Waukee, that's the number 1 ranked team in the state. But then you got Centennial that was 11th. They should move ahead of Ankeny now, and go from there, Ben.
Yeah, well, so I think that those city schools are going to struggle, even though they're wild cards. They're going to struggle in the situation. And then who else? Like who's really like the second best squad in there?
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree, Misel.
Yeah, so hopefully, our boy Brian Duax over there can put together a game plan that makes the game competitive. And I saw the other night, I didn't get the full details, which I'm sure I will. But the Dowling made it 2-0 the other night. They lost to Waukee, but kept it tight. And it sounds like they gave up a goal in the first 5 minutes of the second half, which is not a great time. It's just sort of like you're just sort of
chasing the game now.
Right? Yeah, but they've gone 0-0 all the way through the first half, and they've done well, and then and so I think that if somebody, let's just say it's Centennial, can really put together the right game plan, whoever it is, and I think it's a possibility to beat a team like that. But otherwise, it looks like Waukee's probably out of that number 2, aren't they?
I just hope Iowa High School soccer will make it so if these teams do meet, it's in the sub-state final, because I think that would be more of a excitement factor. It was always, I remember playing teams in the first round that were like the top 10, and we were a top 10 team, and it's just like, it doesn't make sense, but you can play that team right before sub-state. I think you can give that underdog team a little bit more, we can actually do this. We're only 1 game away from the state. We don't have this like 2 more games to get the state. Like the potential of state being just 1 win away, if you make 1 upset, is much. I think to me personally, it's like is much more doable than, hey, we're playing Ankeny Centennial first round of sub-state. It feels a little bit more demoralizing.
I think the way that it should happen is that they rank it out like as so this is where they are right now, and then they'll like re-rank again as you get to the end. So we should see them in the sub-state final. What's the third sub-state?
So you got Roosevelt, who's receiving votes. Then you got Dowling Catholic, who number 13, like you said, just lost to Waukee. And this is, I mean, I don't know if this is the group of death or not, but you got again Roosevelt, which we saw, which was dangerous.
Yeah.
Dowling, you got Johnston, who was ranked number 8. Mason City, who we saw at the futsal event, who's got a couple good players that can maybe change a game and do some magic. Norwalk, who we again saw there play against Dowling as well.
Tough first sub-state.
Welcome to the big division.
And then you got Urbandale, who again, like traditionally has been good and maybe had an off week last week. So
Yeah,
talked about that, boys.
They've had some good results. Urbandale have against some other teams. Like for example, they beat one of the Yankee schools today. And maybe I don't know. Miles is going to check me on that one. But the thing that I was going to say about that group was that like you look at all these like head-to-head matchups, and it's not super clear. Like everybody's kind of, we got one up here, one up there. I think Johnson's going to be really tough. And then who'd you say after Roosevelt?
I mean, Dowling in there.
Down. That's what I was going to say.
But again, like,
so
think about if Dowling, think about if Johnson Urbandale meet in the sub-state final. Like throw the first game out, throw the records out. Go ahead, Misel. Like
I would love to see Johnson.
It's a rivalry.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see Johnson down. Just as far as that matchup in that sub-state final, because I know, like Jimmy Frizzle, the old Bizzle, is that guy is like unapologetic about like we just like get after teams, we go straight at them, we're direct, we've got speed, we've got just guys that can score goals, and they've been crushing teams.
well, here's the interesting night, Ben.
They lose to.
Here's it, but they play May 14th
And
for senior night.
gotcha.
So that's super interesting you bring that up, because they play within 2 weeks of each, like potentially playing 2 times in less than 2 weeks,
Yeah.
right? In the sub-state. So you want to see the game, they do. You can go watch them play on Johnson Senior Night if you want, but like that's where the tactics, that's where the strategy, that's where things come into play, right?
Well, I just think Downing's proven themselves then to be tough to break down. So it'll be interesting to see. They've scored some goals and they can play direct, I'm sure, and build and whatever, but they seem to be tough to break down. So it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being the matchup. I'd be curious.
And I've also seen like a lot of parity in the results too,
I
like
know.
Ankeny beating Valley beating Centennial beating Ankeny, and it kind of goes all around too with Urbandale and Johnston.
Roosevelt's one of those teams as well, who's like they get a good result here or there, but then like
Same
all of a
with-
sudden they lose to the team. Wait,
Yeah,
what?
same with Dowling. So I think
Yeah.
that's the great thing about sub-state. It's like you got a clean slate. It's like the season really starts now. The season you play up to honestly doesn't mean anything up to sub-state, because you're going to get grouped with whoever you get drawn into. It's right. I don't think it's on rankings at all.
No,
It's just on like location, how the pot is drawn.
there are rankings involved. They're not super scientific, I don't think. But so I think that like without a doubt, the group 3 is the group of death. Group 4 seeds. What do you got?
So we got Cedar Falls, who's ranked number 6. And then you got Cedar Rapids, Jefferson, and Washington. And then Dubuque Hempstead, Dubuque Senior, and Waterloo East. So in Dubuque Senior is ranked number 16. Otherwise, you don't have anybody else ranked 16 and 4.
So let's assume Cedar Falls comes out of that one. Who's in group 5?
Yep. So you got Kennedy out of Cedar Rapids. You got Linn-Mar, Marshalltown, Ottumwa, Prairie out of Cedar Rapids, and then Waterloo West.
Prairie's highly ranked, right?
They're number 2. You got Waterloo West, who is number
Marshalltown's had some good results though too. Like they are kind of
Then
like
some bad results.
correct. I mean, you guys are both correct.
until the parity, and I feel like Marshalltown might play a lot of more of the Central Iowa teams. So it seems like they're grouped with a lot of the Eastern Iowa teams in sub-state.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it should be, I wonder how many of those, I would guess if you like do a little cross-referencing, you find out that Marshalltown hasn't probably played a lot of teams that play in sub-state because they've been coming west instead of going east. So, but Prairie, I mean, they're ranked 2, they should be tough to beat.
Come on, Marshtown or
No, if Sea Rapids Prairie is
Prairie,
ranked number
okay.
2, so no matter what, I would guess that's the team to beat, no doubt in that group. What about?
But like you said, Miles, like it just depends. Marshalltown doesn't go out east. So then now,
And
so
Marshalltown is also known for having one of, no offense, Marshalltown, the rougher fields in the high school soccer, as far as like high school.
biggest home field
football.
advantage.
Yeah, high school football field.
But they bring the crowds. If they get to Cownie, they bring the biggest crowd too, don't they?
Absolutely. And they're a team that can play. So that's where it's just one of those, like, I think they're tough to beat at home, but then, you know, you sort of wonder how they do when they go away. And it seems like they do well. So at least recently, what's that next group, Steve? 6?
So we got 9, or yeah, sorry. Substate number 6, got Bettendorf, ranked 9th.
Okay.
Sorry, Clinton, Davenport West, Iowa City West, who's 3, Muscatine 14, and then North Scott Eldridge, they're up on Highway 61. So you got 3, 9, and 14 with Iowa City West, but Bettendorf, like 2 traditional powers there.
Massive powers. I think that, well, we're not necessarily predicting today, but I just, you know, I find it hard to believe that Iowa City West ever, if they're ranked that highly, and the tradition that they have, that they don't find a way to get the state. But, you know, you've got Bettendorf, and then who's you said the number 14 team was?
You got Muscatine.
Muscatine. And Muscatine, yeah, that could be that's a competitive team as well. What's that last one?
So no, you got 2 more. You got Substate 7, you got Burlington, Davenport Central, Davenport North, kind of you got Iowa City High, who's kind of been made a name for themselves. The new program in the last, I think maybe 2 years or less, is Iowa City Liberty, and Pleasant Valley, who's ranked 7th. So you got Pleasant Valley is currently ranked the highest at 7. Again, maybe Substate 3 the group of death may have a few things to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. And then do we know anything about this? This is the last one?
Yeah, so then at Group 8, you got Ames, which isn't far from us. The Hawks ranked 10th, and you got East and North, Indianola, and then Valley, who's ranked 5th.
And your Hawks, Mize, have played my Tigers, and the result was in your favor, correct?
Yeah, but it looked like Valley might have been one of those games that Valley should have had based on some of the stats I was looking at. But that's the thing about soccer. It's on the day. It's not on the year. It doesn't matter what the stats say besides it's not goal column. So I'm guessing if they meet Valley's gonna want some revenge. I mean, it's only natural. But you know, give it to Ankeny. We got a lot of young people on the squad, and you know, I'm rooting for them. I want them to beat Valley because you know, being Valley always feels good, and it'd be great to see 2 ranking teams at state actually. You know, up the chances for a state championship again.
That'd be pretty cool. I won't say anything about the old Tigers, although I would like to see them win.
Well, we're going to see them next week.
Yeah.
Southeast Polk, who was within a game of going to state last year against Marshalltown, or 2 years ago, with the big referee controversy, but they battled Marshalltown. We're going to go see them play Valley next week.
Right on. Well, so let's wrap it up right there. Put a bow on it. Misel, excellent to chat with you. Good to hang out the other night as well. And this is the new thing, right? So like tonight, Jacob Misel's, I don't know, what do you like? Are you Jamie Carragher? Are you Gary Neville? Thierry Henry.
I'd rather be Henry if I'm gonna be
Okay,
anybody.
so he's Henry for the night, and just coming on to chat a little bit about his alma mater. So if hopefully we'll have somebody new on next week. And thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, Steve, it's good chat with Jake, or Jacob. I always forget sometimes to call him that. Mizey, as we also call him. Really fun having him in the mix, and we really appreciate him taking the time to take a little road trip with us. The other thing that we've been a little bad about is getting in the studio to chat about the Merle Cup, which we took in about a week ago now. To be fair, it was kind of a rough game to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think everybody actually, probably even Johnson, went in expecting a battle, and unfortunately, it It wasn't. So, obviously we went out to Johnson Stadium. Obviously for those that don't know, Johnston won 9-1. We were hoping it would be a little more competitive, but unfortunately it wasn't.
Yeah, you do mention Johnson Stadium, which is really, really nice out there off of just east of 141. But what a great venue. One of the better ones we've seen. So I think that they've got somebody proud about there. We had a little chat with Jimmy Frizzell maybe afterwards, and he's got his team really kind of firing on all cylinders. They've only lost the one game all year, and I think they're going to be a team that is confident going to that sub-state. Even though they've got a tough group.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely should make sure, thanks to Darby and Jimmy, we talked to them at halftime both a little bit. First year coach Darby Wesley over there with the Jayhawks, probably similar to what we talked about kind of with Waldron, figuring out the group, figure out who he has. They're trying to figure out for him and whatnot. But yeah, it'll now that the sub-state pairings have come out like we talked about, we'll see where both teams go from here.
Right on. Well, thanks again to everybody who helped us with this episode. We will see you again soon. Next week is Valley Southeast Polk. We're going to head east to Blake's neck of the woods, but I'm going to be repping my orange and black for the Tigers, which I actually don't have anymore. But anyway.
Well, Tita, we'll get the Rams.